Coming up on Mountain News at 6, how schools are trying to comply with the new school resource officer requirement, which state officials say for most districts just isn't going to happen. And in an effort to prepare students in the mountains for a future in healthcare, Shaping Our Appalachian Region hosted a 2-week nursing camp.
Keeping an eye on a front pushing showers and storms into the mountains as we head later on into tonight. The very latest next at 6.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening to you. I'm Dakota Makris. The Kentucky Association of School Resource Officers is hosting a 2-day conference in Richmond. It comes as the state passed a law requiring all schools to have SROs by August 1st. But Grayson Passmore reports the group is concerned districts won't be able to meet that deadline.
I was questioning my faith for the first time, and the priest calls me down. He said, "Frank, you should have died that day, but God's got a plan now. You need to go help these other communities."
That's why a retired principal, Frank DeAngelis, is speaking in Richmond, Kentucky. 23 years after 12 of his students and one of his teachers were killed.
My kids were in trouble. I had about 25 girls that were coming out of the locker room to go to a physical education class, and they were right in the crossfire.
On April 20th, 1999, DeAngelis stood in a hallway at Columbine High School between a gunman and students.
But I knew if I got the girls in the gymnasium, there would be access outside. Well, everything was going as planned until I pull on the door, and it's locked. And all of a sudden, the gunman's coming around the corner, and I reached in my pocket, and I had 30 keys on a key ring. First key, I stuck in and opened it on the first try, or I wouldn't be here.
We're here today to speak on safety protocols.
There were lessons learned from Columbine, and we actually did have a school resource officer exchanging gunfire, but the protocol at the time was secure the perimeter.
DeAngelis says protocols changed after Columbine, but as more news comes out of Uvalde, it's clear mistakes are still being made.
Most of these events are over within 5 minutes, and so unfortunately it seems that we need to learn from the lessons.
Speaking in front of a crowd of a few hundred Kentucky SROs and school administrators, DeAngelis says SROs can be vital in schools.
We do so much more on the front end, and working together with the administrators, we just make the campus a much safer place.
Kentucky Association of SROs President James Pointer says new legislation that requires an armed SRO on every school campus is a step in the right direction of school safety.
If we start with the kids, I think we're all going to be better off.
In Richmond, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
And tonight, U.S. senators say they've reached a bipartisan agreement on gun control, including closing some loopholes in current gun laws. A grand jury has indicted the inmates who police say were the masterminds behind an attempted jailbreak in Whitley County. Paul Brock and Nicholas Rucker were indicted on attempting to escape, kidnapping, and other charges. Earlier this month, Williamsburg police stopped them from getting out. They were one door away from freedom. The chief told us an inmate helped by faking a medical emergency. Brock is serving a life sentence for 3 counts of murder and a fetal homicide. Rucker is facing a murder charge. 3 other inmates were also charged. Nicholas Rucker's attorneys asked a Whitley County Circuit Court judge to dismiss a murder charge from 2019. His attorneys argued that in the solitary confinement in which he was placed following an escape attempt violates his 8th Amendment rights, specifically those relating to cruel and unusual punishment. Commonwealth Attorney Ronnie Bowling argued that Rucker's confinement was a result of his own actions when he attempted to escape. The judge said he will take the arguments under advisement, but he did not issue a ruling. The 41-year-old Corbin man is accused of fatally shooting his girlfriend, Vicki Connor, in May of 2019 and eluding police for more than 1 month. Some breaking news right now. Crews are on the scene this evening of a helicopter crash in rural Logan County, West Virginia. Well, as reported by the Logan County Sheriff's Office, it was reported before 5 p.m. in the Kelly Mountain area. Additional details are not available right now, but of course we'll keep you updated as we learn more. Kentucky's COVID-19 positivity rate is going up, but weekly case totals are down. The state reported more than 7,900 new cases for last week. That's down 5,000 cases from the week before. The current positivity rate is 12.45%. Hospitalization numbers are holding steady. 17 students from counties across Kentucky's Appalachian region are wrapping a 2-week program in Pikeville, taking on a curriculum that is all about the future of nursing. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from the First Appalachian Nursing Academy.
From the dorm life to the lecture halls,
we're staying on campus, so it's kind of like being in college already.
Appalachian Nursing Academy is hoping to inspire the next generation of future healthcare workers.
You never know how much you're going to learn until you're here.
The 2-week summer program, hosted by Shaping Our Appalachian Region and its partners, offers high school students a chance to shadow in the nursing profession.
Up next is our tour of PMC.
You get to see what you might be interested in or what you really just don't want to do.
From conversations with nurses to classroom time with educators, getting a closer look past the stethoscope.
If anyone is going to go into nursing or whatnot, I highly recommend at least trying, because that's how well this has impacted me.
Addressing the nationwide nursing crisis by reaching the students where they are and showing them what they can be.
And those were also the students we were trying to reach, those that maybe showed some kind of interest in healthcare but didn't have the background. You know, their family wasn't in healthcare. Where they live doesn't have a big hospital or a big clinic where they can go reach out and shadow.
With lectures, mentoring, and even a live stream of an open heart surgery.
Like nerve-wracking because it was live and we didn't know what was going to happen next.
Using regional partnerships to help them pave their paths.
It just is really beneficial to me because this is what I want to do, and it's just giving me an idea of how to do it.
And giving them a hands-on experience to let them decide.
They go through this and decide, hey, healthcare isn't for me. That's okay too. You know, we just want to help them on the next steps in their career.
What their hands will do. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
A ceremony will take place Friday to mark the completion of the program, during which students will receive prizes, certificates, and scholarships to help in their college careers.
Watching the rather relentless heat out there this afternoon and evening, as we also watch the potential for maybe some strong to severe storms pushing into the mountains as we head later on into tonight. Outside at the moment, you're looking at Buffalo Mountain Camera here in Perry County. All is quiet. We do have, though, a cloud over the sun right now sitting at 95 degrees. That's where many of us are, in the low to mid 90s right now. So we have plenty of fuel for thunderstorms. Dew points are in the middle and upper 60s to near 70 along the north mainly of the Mountain Parkway corridor, and that's where the really for all of us, the Storm Prediction Center has indicated the potential for a watch being issued. It would be a severe thunderstorm watch. The watch to our north and west goes until 8 o'clock, and we look outside. All is quiet now, but severe thunderstorms are not far away. It's something we'll watch. This is not like last Friday, but some isolated damaging wind gusts can't be ruled out as these storms push in our direction. You see they're all moving off to the south and east, and many of us are under that level 1 marginal risk for severe weather, with areas along the I-64 corridor in the level 2 slight risk for severe weather as we head through the remainder of the evening. Now, coming up in just a few minutes, I'll have the latest on those storms and when we could see some relief on the way as well, coming up in just a few minutes. Dakota?
All right, Evan, thank you. High gas prices are increasing. Costs from inflation is impacting the tourism industry in the Cumberland Valley region. The Cumberland Star Riverboat is seeing fewer passengers than previous year. Owner and Captain Dania Eggety says she is fully staffed and ready for a busy summer. Regional tourism leaders are working to get people to local sites and think Kentuckians that typically leave the state for vacation are the key.
We're 2.5 hours from Louisville, 2.5 hours from Cincinnati. That's still a pretty quick trip for people who are looking, you know, to get out and explore and get away from home for a little while.
The Cumberland Star Riverboat is just one of the many excursions offered at Shelter We Trace Adventure Resort. We'll have more on the tourism outlook in the Cumberland Valley when you join us tonight at 11 o'clock. As the weather warms up, camping is becoming increasingly popular and the local wildlife are becoming more active. Our Jordan Mullins stopped by the Breaks Interstate Park to speak to officials about wildlife safety, keeping campsites safe, and the dangers of feeding the animals.
With warmer weather and summer officially here, folks are visiting state and national parks and pitching a tent. but the local wildlife have taken notice.
We're definitely seeing an increase in bear-related incidents involving coolers being stolen, bears getting into people's vehicles where food is left unsecured.
Searching for food and trash as a tasty treat, but putting campers and themselves at risk.
One of the most important things that people can do to avoid any kind of bear-human conflict is just to reduce the presence of food and also strong smells around their houses, around their campsites.
Bears, as well as other wildlife like deer, start becoming dependent on the extra food.
The animals lose the ability to feed on their natural food sources out in the forest, and they become reliant on people.
And even though some animals may approach and seem friendly,
that can unfortunately result in people almost thinking, you know, that the animals here are tame, that they can feed them, that they can pet them, that kind of thing. But, you know, these animals, as all animals in this area, are wild.
Remember not to feed the wildlife, keep smells down, keep food secure, and enjoy nature responsibly. In Breaks, Virginia, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Bradley says if animals become too reliant or aggressive towards guests at any park, the animal will likely have to get caught and be euthanized as a result. Well, the Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter in Hazard is experiencing an overbearing amount of animals being dropped off. Employees say they have run out of room to house any more strays, but animals are still showing up. Yesterday, there were 25 animals dropped off at the shelter, and before the gates even opened today, there were already 10 more. If the drop-offs continue, the shelter will have to euthanize animals. Shelter manager Allie Mullins says pet owners can help this issue in the future by spaying or neutering their own pets.
We'll help in any way we can, but just please spay and neuter your animals because there's no homes in this area.
She adds that they are always looking for foster families for pets, and people that do foster will have food and other supplies provided for them by the shelter. Well, we have some big news to pass along to you tonight. It was announced this morning that Louisa native Noah Thompson will perform at the Black Gold Festival here in Hazard on Saturday, September 17th at 8 p.m. Thompson recently won the 20th season of American Idol. Cornerstone Government Affairs, a bipartisan government relations, public affairs, and consulting firm, announced the opening of an office in Frankfort. The Frankfort office will initially include Caitlin Bunning, former legislative director to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Karen Kelly, soon to be former district director to the Dean of the House of Representatives, Hal Rogers, and Ethan Witt, former assistant vice president of government and community relations for Eastern Kentucky University.